Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to the Sims 4 speedrunning video, or welcome to the channel if you are new here. So in today's video I'm going to be building the world of Sequoia, which is the mod that we got from the expansion pack Sims 4 Growing Together, and I'm going to be building a nostalgic family home using custom content. So this house ends up having 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and it's built on a 30 by 20 lot. Now it is that time again when I sit down and I basically just have a massive play around with my whole entire CC and mods folder and put it all into one build. This time I went for a bit of a lower income nostalgic feel, because I feel like a lot of the CC builds that I do, don't get me wrong, love them dearly, but recently I built like a French chateau. How many of your Sims actually live in a chateau? Or like recently I also built 3 New York brownstones, or I've built like Hamptons coastal stuff. Like I've built a lot of fancy stuff with CC, but this time round I just wanted to sit down and build something that's a little bit more realistic for your average Joe kind of family, and it's also very nostalgic, and I'm just so happy with the way it came together and the way it turned out. The interior furniture style is very noughties to early 2000s, but I recently downloaded some CC purposely for this build, and it is very much geared towards that, and to me it reminds me of my childhood home, and it was just making me so happy because some of the things that is in this build I quite literally had in my house when I was growing up, and so it just, yeah, I had a lot of fun building this house, and so I really hope you like it. But anyway, moving on from that and getting on and talking a little bit more about the build itself and also what I'm doing right now. So as you can see, I'm currently just coming in and figuring out the floor plan for the inside of this house. I will say I feel like I might have catfished you a little bit, because from the exterior it looks like it's going to be a 2-story house. It's not. It only ends up being like a 1-story bungalow, but to me, whenever I do 1-story builds, I really struggle with the roofing, and so I just popped in some little pretend bump outs in the roof. If you wanted to, definitely room to expand and have it so there is stuff on the upstairs, but for the family that I had in mind when I was building this house, yeah, I was kind of wanting to keep it all to one level, but the way the floor plan came together, I am just so happy with, because I feel like for gameplay, it's really easy. For the most part, the house is kind of in 2 sections, if you want to put it that way, because your Sims will walk in through the front door, they're already in the lounge room, you know, you've got your sofas, you've got your telly, you've got like a bookcase and stuff, but then there is a archway which goes into the dining room, and then just off the dining room you've got the little kitchen, you've also got like a little laundry room space, but then there is a bathroom by the front door, you know, just in case your Sims about to pop out, they need a wee, they can just go and use that bathroom. But then when you go back into the lounge room, you go through an archway and you're in like a little hallway situation, and that's where all the bedrooms and the other bathroom is. I also, in this house, and I'm so excited about it, but in this house I made it so the garage on the exterior, you see where I placed the garage door, or on the inside I made it into a converted garage bedroom for a teenager, and in there I placed down a functional drum set. This is also something that I may or may not have downloaded purposely for this build. I don't know why I didn't have it in my game already, to be honest with you, but yeah, no, recently I have found a functional CC drum set that your Sims can play in the game, and it's in that garage bedroom. And in the garage bedroom I tried to make it for a teenage boy. He's in a band, he's the drummer, that's why he's got the drum set, but he's the drummer, and he's very into like punk rocky, he's got like skateboards on the wall, and it's very like moody lighting in there, it's a bit scruffy, and it's just, I love it so much. But yeah, I made the garage into a converted bedroom space. For the other bedrooms I decorated one to be, for in my mind, it's a single parent, and I'll tell you about that shortly. But then there is also a little kid's room as well as an infant's room. Now, I will say a lot of the CC that I've used in this build is new to me, and it is from the creator called A Winged Llama. Now, I have been aware of A Winged Llama for a few years. I've had their stuff in my game for quite a while now, but recently I got a comment, it was around about a month ago, on my latest CC build before this one. I built a Tribeca penthouse apartment in the world of San Martino, and someone commented saying that A Winged Llama recently came out with a nostalgia series, or like a nostalgia set. I didn't really know too much about it. I've heard about it and I've seen some bits about it. I went onto A Winged Llama's Tumblr page. I had a shopping spree. I'm not joking. You might as well just go onto their page now and download everything, because I think I ended up using everything that they've made for this nostalgia set in this build somewhere. They made a nostalgia set kitchen, they made a living room, a bathroom, a nursery, and the nursery especially, they did some Sims, I think it's either The Sims 2 or The Sims 3 conversions of old baby cribs that used to be in previous versions of the game and put it into The Sims 4. Maybe that's just me, and I don't know if you're going to find that as nostalgic, but I remember when I was a little girl, when I used to play The Sims 2 and The Sims 3, especially The Sims 2, I always used to make it so my household had babies and they would be in that crib, and so when I placed it down, I felt like I was like 8 years old again. It makes me so happy, this whole entire build, just because to me, like I said, it's just very nostalgic. And the CC pack that I downloaded, that was kind of the purpose for it. Of course, I use some other CC creators as well. I say some, I use quite a few to be fair, but I use other CC creators as well. I didn't just do a winged llama focused build. Whenever I normally do CC builds, I don't really seem to focus on one creator in particular. I've just got so much custom content, so many mods in my game, so when it comes around to doing a CC build, I don't want to restrict myself, and so you will find in the description of this video a Google Doc link, and on that Google Doc link I have listed every single creator that I've used, every single pack, and where you can download and enjoy all of their beautiful custom content. There is also some miniature mods in the Google Doc link, one of them being the drum set, which I'm going to place down into the garage bedroom, which if you're wanting to get that one thing in particular, by the way, I've already done the Google CC Doc link this morning. I purposely placed it at the very bottom of the Google Doc sheet, because when I do these Google Doc links for you to download and just find all the content really easily, I like to lay it out in a way that's really easy to read. And normally I like to pair creators if they've done collaborations together. So for example, Felix Andre and Hey Harry, they're both individual creators, but then they also do collaborations. So then when I will link stuff from either one of them, and then I also use stuff from their collaborations, I'll purposely pair that together in the Google Doc link, just because you've recently been on that page, it'll be easier to find, instead of you having to go back and forth. But with the drum set, I've only got one piece of custom content from this creator in this build, and so where it was just a standalone link, I thought it would be a little bit easier if I place it at the very bottom. And so if you're curious and you're looking for that is where you can find it. But then also as well in the Google Doc link, there is going to be a functional wall phone. Again, this is one of them mini mods that I'm going to be linking to you, but this is something that A-Wing Llama created, I think, to kind of go hand in hand with the nostalgia set, and it is a conversion from, I think the one that I've used in this build is from The Sims 2, but I know they've also got a Sims 3 wall phone conversion. When you just have your telephone on the wall, why we don't have that in The Sims 4? Because people still have house phones. I've still got a house phone. No one calls it, but I've still got house phones, and so to me it seems a bit weird to have a life simulation game and not have house phones in the builds. But either way, there is a functional wall phone in this build, and your Sims, they can use it as what they would with their mobile phone. I play tested this whole entire house, and I got my Sim to order a pizza, which maybe I am just someone that doesn't use the pizza delivery service enough, but that just felt nostalgic enough to me, because in The Sims 4 I never get my Sims to order pizza nowadays. My Sims, they're always in the kitchen, they're always cooking, or they go out to restaurants. But I always used to get my Sims to order takeout in like The Sims 3 and The Sims 2, and so even just ordering a pizza just to playtest the wall phone. But you can order pizza, you can order some other services like the butler, the maid. There is also some social interaction, so your Sims can call their mates on that phone, they can plan dates, they can travel with the phone, they can also buy businesses. They've got a lot of stuff in this phone. It's pretty much like your Sims mobile phone that they carry in their pocket that you can't actually see, but it's just been put onto a wall, and again, it's just very nostalgic to me. But either way, moving over, as you can see, I'm currently just coming in and actually just finishing up the exterior portion of this build. Now the exterior took me really no time at all, because I'm building on a 30x20 like I said, but I'm building on one of them awkward 30x20s that is bigger going left to right than what it is front to back, and so with that I kind of had to make it so it's going to be a side garden rather than a back garden. I could have changed and built this on a different lot, but to be honest, the reason why I wanted to build on this lot in particular, I don't know if you would have noticed, but at the very front, this is one of the very few lots that we've got in the game that's actually got a drop curve in the pavement, and I knew that I wanted to use a garage in this build, and for realism purposes, I don't want your Sims to have to keep on going to the tyre place to get new tyres going up the curb, and so I purposely built it on this lot because of the drop curve. And you would have seen I tried to angle the driveway portion so it's dead in front of that. But on the exterior, in the garden, we end up having, it's actually a hot tub, but it's meant to be some sort of upper ground pool. Now, it's from a winged llama, which I'm going to say a winged llama so many different times in this build. I'm going to apologise in advance. But like I said, I use a lot of their content in this build and I enjoyed it thoroughly. But yeah, the upper ground pool is from a winged llama. It's actually just a hot tub, but they made it look like some sort of paddling pool almost. Then also in that back garden I placed down a little barbecue grill. There is also some seating, so if your Sims want to, they can maybe make like a jacket potato or something and put that on the barbecue. There is also some little terracotta planters. If you're curious where they are from, they're functional. Your Sims can plant their stuff in there, but again, that is from a winged llama. And then there is also a basketball hoop as well. I didn't have space for the basketball hoop in the garden itself, and so I kind of like shoved it right outside the back gate. But either way, moving over, you can see that I've now moved on into the inside the house, and I started off by initially the front door area, but then quickly moved over into the lounge room. Now, hopefully you can already start to see the kind of late 90s, early 2000 furniture style that I went for the inside this house. But in here, I decided to go for 2 3-seater sofas and then pair it with currently a armchair that's from the same set, but I use it in a pattern swatch. I changed the armchair pattern so it's all one solid colour. But on the sofas as well, I tried to go for a mismatch of pillows, because when I was building this house, like I said, I did have an idea in mind of a Sims family that could potentially live here. I will get on and tell you about that in a second. But when I was building it, I was thinking, this family, they don't have the most amount of money and they don't have tons of money to go and buy new decorative pillows. And so all the pillows they've got, they're odd ones. They've collected them over the years. They don't match, but where they're just so odd from each other, they kind of go together, if you know what I mean. But in here, as you can see, I placed down the TV into a TV cabinet. By the way, the sofas, the armchair, the TV cabinet, as well as the TV, and a lot of the items that you're seeing me place down right now, these are all from the Nostalgia Living set by Winged Llama. But inside the TV cabinet, I placed down a proper retro 90s, early 2000s TV. I then also placed down a sound system and then a cable box, and then next to the TV as well, a Winged Llama created some VHS tapes, and so I had to include them. So I placed some down into a pile and tried to ever so slightly angle some so it looks like they've just been plonked on to the top of one another. And then in front of it as well, I don't know if you can see, but I placed down a video games console, and that is meant to be, I believe, a old PlayStation, like a retro PlayStation. I'm not sure which exact PlayStation it's meant to be, whether it's meant to be PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2. I just remember growing up, my brothers had that, and so to me, I just felt like I was in my brother's room when I was a little girl or something. But also in here as well, I ended up placing down some photo frames on the inside of the TV cabinet. Now, you might see and you might notice throughout the build, I placed down lots of empty photo frames. Now, they're things that kind of function a bit like a mini mod, bit of a stretch, but if you want to, you can actually place down your Sims photos in them photo frames. And so if you decide to download this house, you can fill them up and place down loads of different, maybe like graduation photos or maybe baby photos or something. But also in this room as well, by the front door, I placed down a little coat rack, as you would have seen, and then also a skateboard, because I'm thinking that the teenage boy of his household, he's a bit into punk rock, he's in a band, he has a skateboard, and so I placed down the skateboard by the front door and then purposely placed down some like chipping behind where the skateboard wheels are to make it feel a little bit more realistic. But in terms of the household that I kind of envisioned living in this house, which by the way, this is just kind of like an idea. It was kind of like how I was building the house to be decorated towards. But I recently watched a film on Netflix which is called Erin Brockovich. Now, I think it's quite an old film, just from the quality of the film. It looks like it's meant to be quite an old film. It's got Julia Roberts in it, love her to pieces, but it's based off a true story, which I also found out at the very end of the film. But it is this story of this mum who is a single mum, and she's got 3 children. Now, in the film, she's got a little boy, a little girl who's around about the same age, and then she's also got a toddler, or like a baby. But I liked the idea of this film because she's basically meant to be this woman who didn't really have that much money, and I don't want to spoil too much of the storyline for you because it is a really good film and I highly recommend you watch it if you're, you know sometimes when you're trying to find something on Netflix you can never pick what to watch. Recommend it if you haven't seen it. But the storyline follows a true story, like I said, and it's about this mum. She's got 3 kids. She doesn't look like she would be someone who would be able to do the powerful things that she ends up doing in the film, which I just love because it just beats the stereotypes of it. But she, at the very start of the film, and don't worry, this is not a spoiler, this literally happens within the opening title sequence, but she gets into a road accident, someone hits the side of her car, and she tries to, you know, claim some money. She's a low-income household. It's just her and her kids. She ain't got that much money, and so she tries to get some sort of compensation for it. And again, this is not a spoiler, but she doesn't get any compensation for it. But then she basically goes back to the law firm and she says, well, I want a job here, and I'm very much cutting this long story short, but she ends up working for the law firm that tried to help her when she had this road accident. And then she then starts to uncover stuff about things that are happening in the neighbourhood where she lives, and it's such a good film, and it's amazing because it's based on a true story. But it's the idea of this single mum who, on paper, by the way, she is meant to be this lawyer, but she's not actually a lawyer. She didn't study to be a lawyer, but she works at this law firm. But you wouldn't look at her and be like, yeah, she works at a law firm, because stereotypically, when people think of lawyers, they think of people that are always wearing suits and ties and wearing like loafers and stuff. Whereas she strolled in, she's wearing a leather jacket and red high heels, and I love it because it beats them stereotypes. But she ends up being this really powerful woman, and she ends up doing these amazing things for all of these causes that are really just near and dear to her heart, because she's just, where she's someone who is like a regular mum and she knows the struggles of parenting. She just sees all this stuff in the film, and she helps out a lot of families, and that's all I'm going to say. But I just loved this film so much. I love the idea of this single mum who was trying to make ends meet, and maybe the sim that lives in this house, maybe she ran into an accident, and maybe she wants to also be the stereotype normal of having someone who's a lawyer. Maybe the mum of this house is also someone that works at a law firm, and she also wears a leather jacket and red high heels. I don't know if you would have seen, but by the front door, I did try and reference this. I placed down at some high heel shoes that look like they've just been taken off, and then you'll see as well in her bedroom, I tried to decorate it so there is some like makeup on the floor, and there is also some like high heeled boots scattered about and stuff. But yeah, I have basically had this idea for, well, the mum that lives in this house, she doesn't have 2 little kids like the one in the film, but instead she has 3 kids. She's got 1 infant, 1 teenage boy, and then 1 kid. And then in my head, I'm thinking, when she's going off doing all these different crime cases and she's trying to make the world of San Sequoia good again, her teenage boy would then look after the children rather than hiring like a babysitter or having a boyfriend or something. And so yeah, that was kind of like the idea that I had for the family that could live in this house. Single mum that was on her own, and maybe she got into a tram accident, because we are building in the world of San Sequoia, and to me San Sequoia, it's like San Francisco, and so I like the idea in my head that there's little trams in this world. Maybe she got hit by a tram, she's alright, but maybe she got hit by a tram and then she had to go through some sort of law firm to try and get some sort of compensation. It didn't work out for her, but then maybe the same situation happened. Maybe she went to them and said, look, I want a job, you didn't help me out, and I got ends to meet, you got to help me out here. And then maybe this mum who hasn't really come from anything ends up amounting to something. But yeah, that was my idea. I love that idea. But either way, moving over, as you can see, I finished at the lounge room. You would have seen I placed down that landline phone onto the wall. If you missed it, I will also be placing one down into the kitchen. But then you go through the lounge room, go through an archway, and you go into the dining room. Now, I was trying to almost decorate this house to be somewhat like Erin's house in the film. It looks absolutely nothing like it, by the way. The house in the film looks nothing like this one. I did debate rebuilding it, but in The Sims, it wouldn't have worked out that well. But I haven't seen, unless I fell asleep by accident, but I hadn't seen the dining room in the house from that film. And so I just tried to do kind of like a realistic, low budget-ish kind of dining room space. There's nothing fancy in there. It's a dining room table, there's a few chairs around it, but then in the centre of the table, I placed down like a cereal box, and then I placed down a stack of bowls. I'm thinking kids' breakfast, maybe she's running out, she's going to go and do a law case, and maybe beforehand she just got some Cheerios or maybe Weetabix and just put it onto the dining room table. You will also see, I've now moved over into the kitchen, but when I was going through the kitchen decorations, I had to cut through it because I spent so much time going through the decorations, because I knew that I had so much custom content that almost leans towards the more realistic side of things, but I didn't know exactly where it was in my game. And so you would have seen I just cut through literally about half an hour of me just filtering through the catalogue. But when I was doing it, I found some CC decorations of a literal cereal bowl with a little spoon in it, and so I do re-add that into the dining room because I'm thinking, or maybe one of our kids has woke up a little bit earlier and maybe they're starting to eat their porridge and stuff. But then also in the little dining room area, I placed down a high chair. Now, I know I decorated one of the bedrooms to be for an infant, but at a certain point in the game, if an infant can learn to, I think it's sit up, they can then sit in the high chair, and then you get to try all these different baby foods with them and stuff. And so I placed down a little high chair, and then also placed down a baby food plate, and then like baby spoons and like forks and stuff to go along with it. But you can see that I've now moved over. I'm currently coming in and decorating the kitchen. For the kitchen counters are from a winged llama, but I don't believe they're from the initial Nostalgia Kitchen CC set. I just had a quick look. They are from a winged llama, but they are from the bathroom set. They're meant to be a bathroom vanity, which, to be fair, I can see these being a bathroom vanity, and I do also use these in the bathroom, but I kind of preferred these over the Nostalgia kitchen counters because they look a little bit more lower income than the initial kitchen counters from this CC set. But in here I placed down a fridge that looks like it's got all these different things stuck to it and like oven gloves, and it looks like a realistic family's fridge. And then I also placed down a little oven. I do have some CC of some ovens that are a little bit more like 90s, and it's, you know, like stacked ovens when you have an oven on top of each other. And I was going to use them, but I couldn't find a matching stovetop. And I was thinking, this is a low income household, something to me in my head, having a separate oven and stove feels a little bit more fancy than just having an all-in-one. And so I just decided to use one which is from, I think, Max 20. But also in the kitchen, place down a microwave. Where there is an infant in this household, I'm thinking one day they're going to age up and they're going to want to, you know, have toddler food in the microwave. And so I placed on a microwave, and then in front of the microwave I placed down a little plate, and it has a grilled cheese, and then also next to it placed down a can of the Sims version of tomato soup. I'm thinking maybe she's having a dinner. Maybe she hasn't got time to make herself a proper meal and she's just having a tin of tomato soup. And so I placed that down in front of the microwave. To me, it just feels realistic. But also in there as well, I placed down the wall phone by the coffee making machine. I then also placed down loads of like cereal boxes and jars and like little mugs, and I tried to place down things that looks like that she'd been reading. I also placed down lots of different letter piles in this house because I'm thinking she's working at a law firm, she's trying to do some good for the world, she probably has a lot of documents, and so you're going to see lots of different letters and just stuff that looks like it's got stuff written on it basically scattered throughout the whole entire build. But yeah, also just off the kitchen we have the utility room, which you can see that I'm now currently coming in and decorating. So in here it ends up being a room that basically your Sims can just do their washing in. There is a washing machine and a tumble dryer. Both of them are from Max 20, I believe, off memory. But then it also placed down what is meant to be like laundry detergent and more cereal boxes and random tins of just like random, what I'm thinking could be like, you know, laundry detergent powder. I then also have this little like scoopy thing. I don't know what it's called, but you know sometimes when you put in a load of washing on and you have to like scoop the little plastic thing to get the powder and then put it in the, do you know what I'm talking about? Well, I have a CC of that so I place it down onto the kitchen counters. We then also have some like bottles of water, and then also in the corner I end up making it look like there is an ironing board as well as a clothes horse. So the clothes horse that I currently placed down has no decorations on it. That one is from, I think, the Tidying Up set by Hero Sim. If that's wrong, I'll put a bit of text on the screen. But that one your Sims can actually use. It's meant to be functional. But just the way that the floor plan of the utility room planned out, I wasn't sure if I could place it down and it still be usable. And so I ended up placing down a clothes horse, which looks like it's already got stuff on it. That is purely for decoration. If you fancy and you want to maybe have a rearrange of this room, you could probably get the functional one and replace it and maybe delete the ironing board or something. But I've got CC of an ironing board. I'm gonna use it in this house because I wanted it to feel as realistic as I could. And to me, having an ironing board, that's realistic. Everyone has to do ironing whether you like it or not. And so yeah, I placed down a little ironing board and then like a little decoration of an iron. I really wish that one day we could get more things like that in the actual game. Like I really wish my Sims could iron. I know there's mods for it, and I know there's like a lawnmower mod and stuff like that, and that's great, but I really want it in the game because them really boring tasks in real life just make the game really fun to me, which sounds so silly, but yeah, behind the clothes holes I placed down a little chalkboard, got loads of different, what I'm imagining to be posters and people's phone numbers that they need to call, maybe tag out services. There is also a Hoover, or a vacuum, whatever you want to class it as, but it's just pretty for decoration. The one that I've used isn't functional, but you could probably replace that and swap it out to be one that your Sims could actually use. But also in this room as well, I placed down some decorations of brooms. I have actually recently, and now thinking about it, I could add it onto the Google Doc sheet for you if you want it. I might, well, you're not gonna, I'll do it anyway. But I have actually recently downloaded a functional broom mod in my game, because I don't know if you would have seen it, but a few weeks ago, I built a off-the-grid boat. Like, I built a boat in the world of Sulani, and in that build I was saying that I'm going to be using it in my own personal household, and I have been, and I've been thoroughly enjoying it. But with that, I like to play with dust in my game. I like to get my Sims to have to hoover, but where I'm playing off the grid, hoovers don't work, and they didn't give us a broom. And so recently I have downloaded a functional broom, and it kind of replaces the hoover. And so yeah, I think I'm going to add that into the Google Doc link as well. It's not in the build. I didn't use the functional broom in this build somewhere. I don't know why I didn't, but you can use a functional broom not only in this build but any other build. And yeah, I'll just link it in the Google Doc street for you. I would ask you if you want me to link it, but I feel like you're not going to say no. So, and also, by the way, when you're watching this, I'm out of town. I'm not at my desk right now. I'm actually on holiday as you're watching this video. I'm currently pre-recording, and I've actually got something funny to tell you. So I have this little bit of an ongoing joke myself that every single time that I leave the country or I just leave my desk, the Sims team like to announce something or release something, and it's happened again. And this is the thing, it's happened 3 times now. 3 years in a row I have been away and they announce or release an expansion pack. And this week, I'm in Spain. It was kind of last minute because I feel like I need to justify myself here, but recently I built a huge generation's dream family home, and I was saying about this whole scenario of like, whenever I seem to step my foot onto an aircraft, the Sims team were like, right, she's checking into Heathrow, let's announce something. But I was speaking about how I only really ever seem to go away once a year. Sometimes I don't even go away, and whenever I do, the Sims team announce something. This is very last minute. I'm going away with my family, and I'm really excited because I haven't been away with my family in years. And I've got a nephew, he's 3 years old, and his last couple of family holidays, I haven't gone away with him. And so yeah, I'm going on a little trip to Spain with my family. I'm extremely excited. But yeah, the Sims team, have this like ongoing joke where they hear me booking my flights and they're like, right, we need to conjure up something because she's going to be gone, she's going to be out the country. And so next week there is meant to be 2 new kit releases, and then they also announced that on the 31st of October we're getting a new expansion pack. I don't know if it's called Life and Death, but it's kind of like the tagline for it. I'll be curious if that is the actual name of this new expansion pack. But yeah, no, we're getting 2 new kits next week. We're getting one artist-based kit. It's called Artist Studio Kit. And I must admit, when I first saw the announcement, I didn't see the studio bit. So I just read it as Artist Kit. So I was thinking we was going to be getting like aprons and maybe overalls that have got a bit of paint on them. But now looking back on it, I think it's meant to be a build and buy kit. But then we're also getting a second build and buy kit, and it is called the Storybook Nursery Kit. Do you know how long I've wanted that in the game? Pretty much ever since we've got infants, I have said how we need some more DLC for them, whether it be a kit, whether it be a game pack, whatever it will be, because when it comes around to decorating nurseries in the game, we're so limited. Like, there is next to nothing in the catalogue, and so I'm really excited that we're going to be getting, yeah, a nursery-based kit for whether it be infants or object babies. I don't know, but I'm really excited to get my hands on it. Also, I'm saying how the Sims team always like to announce something when I'm going away or when I'm just not sitting at my desk for a few days. Me and Lil Simsy, we both have this same thing. Like, bless her, the same thing happens to her. But I'm saying all this, I will actually be home by time the new kits come out. Barely, but I will be at home, and so hopefully I should be able to film something. I have got a few ideas of things I want to build already. I haven't even seen these new kits or what's coming in them, and thankfully so far, I don't know if there has been any leaks, but I haven't seen any, and so already I've got some ideas of what I want to build with them. But yeah, anyway, getting back to the build. Sorry, that was such a tangent. The only reason why I started talking about it is because I was saying that I wouldn't be able to update the Google Doc link as if you was to ask, oh yeah, can you actually link that broom? I mean, I would be able to eventually. I'm only out of town for a couple of days, but I just wanted you to be able to have it at your fingertips. But yeah, that was a complete tangent. I'm so sorry. But either way, getting back to the build, as you can see, I finished up the utility room. I then moved over and decorated the bathroom. For the bathroom, I used a lot of the nostalgia bathroom set. So the shower and bath combo, the toilet, the same kitchen counters that I used for the kitchen, I just used them in the bathroom as well. And then also placed down like a nice little mirror onto the wall and then some plants in the corner. You would also just quickly see me do the hallway, which kind of leads into each one of the bedrooms. But currently I'm coming in and decorating the mum's bedroom. So like I said, I was basing Sims that could potentially live in this house, and I kind of decorated it for the family in the film Erin Brockovich. And so when it came around to decorating her bedroom, I wanted it to look, it's got a few nice pieces of furniture, but in the film she hasn't got a ton of money, and like she's struggling to make ends meet as it starts off. And that's how she even starts off with getting this job in this law firm, because she got hit by a car. This is in the film and also real life, but she got hit by this car and she didn't have the money for some compensation for it. And so because of that, it really just threw her off the tracks, and then she ended up being able to work at the law firm that were trying to help her. And yeah, I tried to decorate her bedroom so it's part bedroom but then also part home office. So in here I use this bed, which is from Max 20. I think it's from one of their later CC sets. It might be the Southern bedroom CC set, but I use that in here. And currently I use this wardrobe that we got from the Get Together expansion pack. Now normally whenever I do CC builds, I like to try and focus on just using CC, but when it came around to decorating this bedroom, at this current point I didn't have any CC walk-in wardrobes. But basically once I finished this build, right, I just felt like it needed some sort of popcorn ceiling, and I realised on a Winged Llama's Tumblr page there was this one which is called House Details, I believe, and basically a Winged Llama had created popcorn ceiling to paint your Sims ceilings. I needed to use it, and so when I downloaded that, I realised there was also a custom content walk-in wardrobe that I could have also placed down. And so you might notice in the screenshots, I don't actually end up going for that wardrobe. I replace it with a CC one. It looks quite similar, but it looks a little bit more weathered. It looks a little bit more like chipped and stuff, but I just love it. But in here as well, I placed down a bookcase in the corner, and then I placed down a little computer desk. On the computer desk, I placed down this computer, and the one that I've used is from Max 20, and hopefully you can see what I was going for like kind of like the lawyer in action. We've got a lot of files in the bookcase. We've got a little like notebook on the computer desk. We've got loads of different like knickknacks, those little different bits and bobs that kind of relate to your Sim being in quite a hard working environment. You know, there's lots of files just scattered about the place, but I imagine that the Sim that lives in this house, she is trying to be this really good lawyer, and she's got so many different cases on her hands at all given points at time. And so her bedroom has just kind of become a little bit of a dump for all of these files and all these cases that she's working on. But in here as well, you might notice in at the corner I placed down an infant's crib. Now like I said, there does also end up being an infant's room, so technically, if you wanted to, you could have 2 different infants in this household. But I'm thinking sometimes in real life, when you have a baby, sometimes the baby might sleep in the same room that you're sleeping in, maybe like at their early stage. But then as they grow up a little bit, maybe sometimes you might be like, right, let's trial them and see if they can sleep in their own bedroom one night. And so I put a cot in the mum's bedroom, thinking that maybe the baby is slowly but surely starting to sleep in their own bedroom and not in the mum's bedroom. I just kind of like that idea. And to be honest with you, there was a perfect space for it, and I didn't know what else to put there. I didn't want to shove an armchair because I felt like I'd already placed a couple of armchairs in this house, or I knew that I was going to anyway. And so yeah, I just placed down a little infant's crib, and then also in that room I placed down a mirror, and then I placed down some makeup on the bottom of it, and then also some high-heeled boots and stuff. I was really picturing, and if you do go and end up watching the film Erin Brockovich, I imagine that Sim, or her as a character, being a Sim living in this house. And hopefully if you do ever see the film, or if you've just like looked up on Google, look up Julia Roberts in the film, hopefully you can kind of see the kind of Sim that I was picturing living here. But either way, moving over, as you can see, I've now moved on into the next bedroom, which is the kids' bedroom. So in here, I tried to decorate it to be a bit of a pufferhead CC bedroom, which if you're not familiar with the pufferhead stuff pack, I believe it was my first ever CC pack that I might have downloaded. It was definitely my first ever CC video that I ever posted on YouTube. It's like 5 or 6 years old or something, but it is this CC pack that focuses on the Sims version of Harry Potter, and where I'm building a nostalgic house, I was thinking, well, Harry Potter, I remember when it came out, or close to the time when it came out, I used to have it genuinely on VHS tapes. I've watched the first 3 films more times than I've had at hot dinners, because it was one of the very few VHS tapes that I had when I was little. And so to me, Harry Potter itself is just so nostalgic, and where I've got this whole entire CC pack kind of dedicated towards it, I felt like it was only essential that I just decorated this bedroom to be, yeah, for a kid that loves Harry Potter. So in here, the bed that I've used, I think the actual bedspread is by Piero Sim, but then the bed frame is from the Pufferhead stuff pack. I also used the bookcase from that CC pack, as well as the little chest of drawers. And I remember when I did my Pufferhead speed build, it was an apartment, like I said, it was like 5 or 6 years old. I wouldn't go and watch it if I was you, but I remember when I did this apartment, I was so obsessed with all this different furniture, because where I'd never really built with custom content before, I just felt like I'd opened up a whole new world. And to be fair, I had, and this is why I love custom content, because it is just so different to anything that we really get from actual Sims DLCs. But yeah, I use a lot of like decorations from that CC pack in here. I use some little figurines, I use some clutter decorations, some posters, some framed prints as well, and it just looks so cutesy. But I also ended up placing down this little pretend kitchen. Now the kitchen that I placed down into this room, it's functional. It also kind of acts like a mini mod where kids, Sims, sometimes they'll put on like a little chef's hat and they'll stand there and they'll pretend cook. I can't remember what skill it gains. I feel like off memory it should be the creativity skill, but it's just like an extra gameplay thing for kids to do in the game. And so yeah, I pop that down in here, and then it also ends up being a Bigfoot teddy bear, and then also a little kid's toy box in the corner. But you can see now I'm just coming in and just figuring out what to put on this side of the wall. I really struggled with this because I didn't want to reuse the same posters all over the room, and so I was really struggling on what to put on like this empty space when your Sim's walking through the front door. But in the end, I ended up placing down a little shelf, and then it's a little tiny wicker basket, as well as a suitcase. And then I also placed down some sort of like rods or like hooks in the walls, and then hung a little scarf off it as well, which I just thought was so cute. But now moving over, as you can see, I've now moved on into the next room, which is the infant's room. So in here, first of all, I completely changed the colour scheme, because initially I was going to come in and decorate this bedroom so it had almost like a white kind of grey wallpaper, but then it didn't feel like it fitted in with the rest of the house, and so I decided to change it to this one, which is from, I think, the Coastal Collection by Hey Harry. But in here, this crib that I've placed down, that's from The Sims 2, and A Winged Llama did a conversion, so it's now in The Sims 4. Honestly, the amount of different times I've used this in just my old Sims 2 family homes. I haven't played The Sims 2 in a very long time, but when I was little, I've always been into The Sims. I've always been a Sims girl through and through, and I used to play The Sims 2, and every single one of my households were just big families, and I used to have this crib dotted about in every single one of them, and it feels so nostalgic to me, and I just love it so much. But also in this room, I ended up placing down a little changing station. There is also a rocking chair in the corner, and then I placed down a chest of drawers, but then on top of the chest of drawers I placed down what I was thinking was a storybook that is maybe being read to the infant of a night time. I then placed down like a little duck teddy bear, and then also some nappy kind of decorations, which looks to be like spare diapers and stuff when your Sims need to change a diaper. But also in here I placed down the sad beige baby playmat, which sounds really strange, and we'll see him do it in a second, but I have a recolour of one of the playmats in the game, because we got this playmat from the Growing Together DLC, and I like the interaction of it, but it's just a little bit ugly sometimes. And so whenever I play with infants myself, I always have this, and it's called Sad Beige Baby Playmat. I'm not being rogue, it's literally the name of it. And so I placed that down here as well. When it came around to playtesting, I did have to angle this ever so slightly, because my Sim could put the infant inside of it, but then it didn't look like she was going to be able to actually interact with the infant, and so I do just have to shuffle that over a little bit. But also, whilst we're on the subject of playtesting, I forgot to mention this when I was doing the lounge room, because I was just so infatuated by the fact of all this nostalgia season. I just wanted to talk about it. But with the lounge room, you know, all them pillows that I placed down onto the sofa, I found when it came around to playtesting, I was having a little bit of an issue with it. Not a massive thing, but basically, you know, sometimes when you get your Sim to sit down on a 3-seater sofa, there is 3 different areas that they can sit in. If I wanted my Sim to sit on either the left-hand side or the right-hand side, they would sit into the middle and then scoot their bum over to either side of the sofa. and it was really annoying me. But the thing is, the only way that I can make it so that wouldn't happen is if I was to delete every single pillow that I placed down onto the sofa, and I just like the look of it so much, and so I really hope you don't mind. But if you download this builder for gallery, I have left the pillows there, but I just wanted to let you know that your Sims, they're going to have to scoot their bum over. Other than that, I run into one other problem with playtesting, and it was in the teenage boys' bedroom. It was with the drum kit. I'll tell you about it when I actually do it and I place it down. But other than that, you shouldn't run into any other major problems. It's not even a major problem. Your Sims can't sit down and then just stay there. They have to sit down and scoot their bum over. But like I said, I just didn't want to delete the pillows, and I just thought they looked really pretty, and so yeah, I really hope you don't mind. But either way, now moving over, I've actually now started coming in and decorating the teenage boys' bedroom. So in here, I purposely went and came out of my game and went back onto A Winged Llama's Tumblr page and downloaded this one particular bed just for this bedroom, because to me, the bed that I've used in here is just so perfect for teenagers' bedrooms in the game. It's this lived-in bed, and I believe that is actually the official CC pack's name. It's just called lived in bed, but the bed, it hasn't been made. It's a little bit scruffy, and I love it so much, and I feel like it's just so perfect. I decided to use a bedspread in this kind of like checkered pattern. I was thinking maybe it's a similar pattern to what the kids' bedroom is, and I'm thinking maybe the mum, when she bought the bed sheets, she just bought a single version and then a double bed version, and then yeah, it looks kind of somewhat similar. But in here, as you can see, I have placed down the drum set. Now, the only other issue that I ran into with playtesting was my Sim, even though I felt like I left more than enough room to be able to actually sit down at the drum set, they couldn't interact with it. And so the only one change that you might notice is I rotated the drum set round. So instead of it facing towards the bed, it's kind of facing towards the garage door. It's not ideal, but I then found on Reddit that apparently sometimes you can have interference issues with this drum set, and if you want to place it down, just basically make sure that nothing is around it. And so yeah, if you do download this build, you might notice that it's rotated round, but it's still here and your Sims can still play the drums in the game. It's so exciting because it just makes me want bands even more in The Sims 4. Right, if you think about it, The Sims 4 is a 10-year-old game, and we've got a guitar, we've got a keyboard or piano, it's the same skill, and then we've also got a violin. But then other than that, like, I feel like we're just lacking so many other musical instruments. I would love a saxophone, little Lisa Simpson moment. I would love like a clarinet or a flute for like kids. Maybe we could get it. Maybe we could get some sort of band pack in the game, and then we can get some more after school activities for kids and teenagers, and they could go to band practice. Like, I would just love that so dearly. Like, I really want some sort of band related DLC. I feel like we probably are going to get one at some point in time. Like, they have to. There's only so many different more things that I can think of that we could have in The Sims 4, like hotels, like ferries, and bands. I don't know what else. Well, actually, we're getting a life and death expansion pack. I've got a vague idea of what the death portion is going to be. I'm assuming they're going to introduce a load more death types, but the life bit, what's the life bit about? I'm so intrigued about this new expansion pack that we're getting in October. But yeah, I feel like a band pack would just be, it'll be so perfect with The Sims 4, and they could use a similar kind of system to what we've got with the Get Together expansion pack. You know, you can have different groups and you can form groups. If we could have that or something similar, and your Sims could have a band and you could assign someone to be the singer, you could assign someone to play the drums, you could assign someone to play the keyboard and someone to be the singer. Like, there's so many different things that I feel like they could do with a band pack, and it makes me really excited. But either way, in here, as you can see, I decided to use a mixture of different posters and kind of like stickers onto the wall. A lot of the posters that I have used, the one that looks like it's got Sims with like mohawks and they've got guitars and stuff, they are from the Little Cake CC Tumblr page. Something that I wanted to note as well, in here you might see that I placed down a hanging guitar on the wall. Now, when I was doing the CC Google Doc link this morning, I was finding that hanging guitar, I think you can get from 2 different CC packs from Little Cakes, because that is also from the same creator, but I'm not sure which one it came from. And so you might notice in the Google Doc link, I've listed you 2 CC packs from the same creator. It will literally take you maybe like an extra 5 seconds, but I've listed 2 different CC packs because I'm not sure which version of the guitar is from which one, because normally whenever I do my CC Google Doc links, I'll find the picture for it and I'll basically go onto the CC creators Tumblr page or their Patreon, and I'll look through the preview of every single item that comes from that DLC, and then that way I can narrow it down to exactly where it's from. But yeah, with the hanging guitar, I found that it was in 2 different CC packs from Little Cake. placing, so just to be on the safe side, I have listed you both. But either way, in here, as you can see, I ended up placing down a little snake onto the chest of drawers in this room, which I just thought was so perfect for a sim that is a bit of a punk rocker. They're in a band, they skateboard, they might have a snake. And so I placed down a little snake decoration. It's purely for decoration, it's not functional. There is different animals that kind of tie into the My First Pet Stuff DLC that I could have placed down, but them animals come in them big cages, and it was a bit too clunky for this room. And so yeah, I just used a little snake cage on the chest of drawers. But also in this room, I have a computer desk, and I use the same computer that I use in the mum's room, but I just changed the swatch of it, so this one just doesn't have all the post-it notes on it and stuff. But also in this room as well, I placed down some garagey bits and bobs, and so I was thinking this is a garage conversion. Maybe only recently it's been converted into a bedroom, and so there is still some stuff that they need to store in the garage. But also in here, I placed down an electric guitar, or at least it looks electric to me. It's by Moshino's son, and I placed it down in front of the bookcase. And there is also a little love seat as well. I was thinking that maybe this used to be a part of the living room set, and they've just maybe like nicked it and put it in their own bedroom. I could just picture the teenager that sleeps in here always having their friends come over. Maybe their friends come over and practice their band stuff in this bedroom. And so yeah, I placed down like a little sofa for them. Also placed down some cereal boxes and some pizza boxes. And then also, you might see, I placed down some decorations of pants and underwear. Well, I say pants and underwear, I think it depends on where you live in the world, but I call what I think a lot of people call boxer briefs pants. Like, they're just a pair of pants to me. And then I also placed down a bra, and then also some underwear to go along with it. There also ends up being some socks that looks like they've just been shoved off, and then also a pair of what I term as just trousers, but I think people refer to them as pants, but they look like jeans on the end of the bed. But other than that, I'm pretty much going to go around this room and finish it off with some final details, and that is pretty much it. So anyway guys, I'm going to end this voiceover right here. As always, you can download this build via the gallery. My gallery ID is JessicapieYT, or you can search for the hashtag JessicapieYT or just the hashtag Jessicapie. As always, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and as always, if you do like my content, then please do subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in my next Sims 4 speedrunning video. Bye guys.